In any game, there's a loser and there's a winner, something like that, right? Yeah. So this is how you should be able to understand that. Why I'm zeroing in on this one is because we're going to be dealing with a lot of people who will be in different situations, or their conditions will be affected by different situations around them. You should be able to understand their mental state. Are they okay or not, or something like that, right? And we said that the mental wellness of an individual is indicated by the coolness of the individual emotions, issues of the physiological and the psychological being of that particular individual, and the behavior. Now, because of physiological being of an individual, it may bring about certain behaviors which are a disorder in nature, right? If you find, for example, persons with disabilities, in most cases, different types of disabilities, sometimes they act in a manner that is outside what you may expect. I'm told that what we got to do in English, stammering. I'm told that there are certain situations where it can be very severe, right? Can take 5 minutes, the weight does not come up. And I'm told if you're close by, before the weight comes, you get a fist on you. Eh? So things like those, it's how an individual responds to the situation in which he is, right? Why would somebody now hit you because he's not able to produce the weight? So all these things are issues that may relate to what you call the mental disorder. So here, mental disorder is a manifestation of your behavior or psychological, including social dysfunction, right? Physiological, social, or behavioral dysfunction in a particular person. If somebody, simple question, yesterday or the other day, we looked at the personality, right? Yeah. And we looked at the two characteristics of personality: an introverted and extroverted individual. And we said that an introvert is an individual who is an inward-looking personality, who keeps to himself, right? And has his own several characteristics around. Now, would that be a disorder?
Yeah.
Why?
Because you cannot keep everything to yourself.
But when you look at the characteristics, they are quite good. Very, very focused. That's what they are. They think very critical. They are put at so many things around, simply because they are able to have time to do things and reflect on those things that they do. Well, I think that is the only way I can put it. But it's a mental disorder. When we're looking at the issues of personality, I don't think we look at that one as a mental disorder. No. It is just a condition specific to individuals in that. Now, the other issue which we must note is that the examples I gave you earlier, I want us to understand. I gave an example of Mr. Njero. It's bad to mention him here, but he's in that position. and somebody who keeps to himself. One will be a mental disorder, but is in jail or suffering from mental disorder. Mental disorder themselves is most. No, yes.
Yes, because they cause a dysfunction in a person or in an individual.
Okay. Right. So this is how it is. Let's look at that. Is mental disorder same as psychiatric disorder? That's the question that I want. It's possible to have a mental disorder different from psychiatric disorder. If you are depressed, you'll be exposed to that type of disorder, mental disorder, because you cannot function, right? According to what I gave you, characteristics that I gave you earlier on. But if you have a psychiatric problem, will that be the same? No. Anything which is psychiatric in nature is a condition that must be clinically proven that has a psychological or behavioral disorders. And there are so many characteristics that they look at. Let's take somebody who has smoked tobacco. I don't know, I've never smoked, so I don't know how it feels like. But I'm told people change their behavior, change whatever it is. Are those psychiatric individuals or conditions? Give examples, man. Give me sometimes if you have tested it, just say it's not an issue. By keeping quiet again, that's a disorder.
By doing what?
By keeping quiet if you have tested, it's a disorder. It's a mental disorder.
Yes,
Yes, I tested this out and I stopped because of this. Yes. Is it, how does it alter your thinking? Does it alter your behavior? Does it, any behavior altering or mind altering substance is a drug, right? It's a bad substance. Any drug that alters your mind and your behavior is bad, including the normal drugs that we use when we are sick. Those are also drugs. Yes, those are bad. That's why they are giving the prescriptions and the numbers, right? If somebody gave you 8 aspirins now to swallow, right? Within 8 hours you'll be dead. No. You see, so they also become drugs. They also become bad, right? Depending on what they can do, the contraindications can be, and something like that. So we find that yes, psychiatric type of behavior will be the behavior where at least you have issues where your psychological being and all your behavior actually does not relate to what you're supposed to be. Okay, so disorders must have a lot of distress to the individual, and that's what we say. So naturally, when you are distressed, what is distress? David, have you ever been distressed? No, yes. How? And how do you know you are distressed?
Mood swing.
Say what?
Mood swings.
Swings.
What?
Mood swings.
Yes,
Oh, mood
how
swing.
do I know?
Okay, mood swing. Eh? What is a mood? Anybody?
Changes.
Changes of what?
On the video.
Changes of what?
Frequencies.
So which
The
changes?
thing of being happy or sad.
Okay, that's a mood. Eh? Condition of desire or happy. So it changes from time to time. Why would it change? You see, there are so many factors, right? The environment in which you are, the people that you are with, and the issues in your mind which are not working the way you are supposed to, or from your expectation. Can't meet your expectation. So all those things can create that swing. call it tune, something like that. And this, yes, you can bring in some degree of distress in your individual mind, right? In other words, the mind will be affected and may not be able to give you the expected responses to what is happening around you. So something like that. Now here, when you have mood swings, all sorts of things, those are disorders, right? Because they will disturb your cognitive being, they'll disturb your emotional being, and they'll disturb your thought processes. And indeed, they also distress sometimes your coping mechanisms, which is true. People with a lot of distress, which may lead to depression, may fail to have coping mechanisms to understand and also withstand that situation. And they may end up injuring themselves through suicide or something like that. So that's what it is. So here, those mood swings are signs of some disability at that particular time. Right? Gilbert knows that. That mood swing. Yeah. You and Taonga, you are good friends. But this time going to Taonga, the way she deals with you, the way she responds to you, all sorts of things, different. Just wondering, are you Taonga or why?
That's true.
Yes, the fact that the Taonga you see, it's not the Taonga who's inside herself, right?
Right.
So all those things can come out. And we know there are quite a lot of situations like this, and there will be a lot of reasons why such things happen. So let's look at another division of psychiatric disorder. I think we looked at this one here. One of those is when your cognition is disturbed. Cognition is the ability to understand, know, and interpret. If it is disturbed, your brain is not working. Right? When your balance, your effectiveness, your self-awareness and something is disturbed, something is wrong. Right? These psychiatric individuals, for example, when they go, you see them around. They'll come for bean and pick things and eat whatever it is. Question number one. Do they know what they are doing or not?
They know.
They know that they are eating.
Yeah.
First things first, they know that they want something to eat. Right? They don't know where to get it, but they get it in mobility.
That means they know that in the bin food is found.
Yes, so they know it is available. Now, that's where something becomes interesting. That psychiatric people or individuals also fear certain things, is it?
Yes.
You think so?
Yeah.
Why can't they just go in the shop right? Just go in the shop right, go pick some bologna, eat, and move on. Why?
They know that it is stealing.
Huh?
They know that it is stealing.
It's stealing. The thing they know that is stealing. They know the difference between ownership and non-ownership.
No, they need rotten food.
Huh?
They need rotten food.
Well, they enjoy rotten food.
Sometimes they
Okay, these are quite interesting issues.
It's like what
Ndio, sasa kule kwenye mponisa sasa kulandilira sasa chapo point.
Ife watu wadusa womsa
Amongo.
ama yeah so like really damn person wanga amantha kuthiwa lo muntu because of anekwasika.
Long time ago, we had when I was in Europa, a gentleman whose name was, I don't know his name, but I never knew his name, but it was just, he used to call him man. Because every time we meet, man, the government was up, man, just something like that. when he was known as man, would walk so many kilometers into town and back every day. And ask him, why every day you walk into town and back? Just says, because not the common office one. So where his office is, you can't know. So that is some of these things of cognition. Is he able to understand the situation in which that individual is in? Is there a disturbance of some sort in his ability to understand and identify what is supposed to be there? This is bringing us to what is normal and what is abnormal. Okay. Now, Boston, what in your view can be considered to be normal? Or abnormal? Do we have normal situations and abnormal situations? How and why? You'll be getting your service users who will come to you. Will they be coming as individuals in a normal state or an abnormal state? Normal.
No.
Both. So, what is normal and what is abnormal? You said abnormal, right? You said abnormal.
Yeah, abnormal.
Because once you be
That's
low,
complicated.
Right? But I've looked at your sociology, I've looked at your case work, I've looked at all these things. We know what is normal and what is abnormal. Have we?
yeah.
Yes.
Isabel, from your own social work practice, what is normal and what is abnormal? Anybody, not only that. What would be abnormal and what would be abnormal? Mm-hmm.
Not knowing the cause of the problem. Yet you are the owner of the problem.
Mm-hmm. So, this is what it is. What is normal is something that is acceptable. It's something that gives you a pattern, right? And when you're looking at our theories, and one of the theories, I think, the one we just looked at, I think 2 weeks ago or a week ago, the transactional analysis theory. We looked at transaction as a form of communication, right? And also being behavioral in nature. And also that out of those, it will create a pattern. So a pattern which is consistent, right, becomes normal. Something that is acceptable, right? And it will involve a lot of rules and regulations of what is right, what is not right, what is acceptable, what is not acceptable. Things like this will come together to denote what we call normal or normality, something like that. And if you go to your own old sociological theories, normalcy is about how you fit into society or into a community and live by the rules, what we call the norms, right, in that particular society. If you don't, then you deviate from what is acceptable in that particular society. And you become a deviant, something like that. Right? And here, with that, putting that in context, it means that abnormality actually is a deviation from what is acceptable as a pattern or a standard. So normalcy is about the pattern or the standard that is consistent and accepted. That's will be an individual we think is normal. All right. If you come here and start to break all the windows, all the glasses around, George, Boston, you just come here, go to one room and break all the windows. There will be two things. How do we think, or how do people think about it? Just come on glass, tap, 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 and they go. Eric, what would be that?
maybe you have the issues with the school.
Okay. So you have the issue with the school. So why don't you have the issue with the school?
Yeah.
So you are teaching the school, right?
Yeah. You want to vandalize their assets to show
So
their
you have issues with the authorities of the school.
yeah.
So you want to punish them, they want to punish them through breaking of the authority, something like that. Okay. Is that behavior normal or abnormal?
They are normal.
It's abnormal.
Yeah.
Because there's a way through which you can address those issues with your authority, right? Something like that. And if you at law, actually it becomes even more complicated because that is already arson, right? You're breaking somebody's property or destroy somebody's property or something like that. Or they can even change it to breaking and whatever it is. All sorts of things. So that would be abnormal. So an abnormal behavior from an individual is a behavior which has deviated, moved away from the acceptable ways of doing things around. And also, this can lead to a lot of issues, psychological or social in nature, and also issues of mental malfunction. And it is that, then in the end, it could be actually a mental health disorder or mental health issue to be dealt with. So this is how we should look at it. There's a lady here who actually looked at something very interesting. He says, there are 6 indicators through which an individual's mental health can be measured. 6 areas through which an individual's mental health can be measured. Growth and development of the individual, right? And ability to achieve. Now, you remember I gave an example earlier on about a child moving from the home to a preschool center will cry quite a lot, right? And the reverse happens as the child adapts to or gets used to the situation around. You find that growth development and the ability to really understand what's happening around is age specific, right? I think we've all looked at issues of child growth and development. We've looked at issues of child development milestones, which I hope you still remember, or what I've forgotten. All these things, you note, they are age specific. Now, issue of mental health and wellness also is age specific. In other words, our mental wellness or our mental health is incremental. It increases with our age, something like that. Our levels of cognition, I'm sure you're aware of that, they always grow and increase with age. Issues of emotional regulation and emotional control will also be age specific. As you grow, you're able to understand the situation and you're able to manage your situation. Adaptation. With age, a child starts now to adapt. Yes, I can be in a home, I can be in a school, I can be with friends. All sorts of things will be age specific. And how we do our manage our mental capacities also will be just like that. So here, under the growth and development as one of those milestones or indicators of mental health, she has quite a number of issues around. Can you achieve a task, for example? That's a growth milestone and also a development milestone. Because each task that you achieve will be a demonstration of your levels of development and also that of your capabilities as a growth. Right? Can you perceive reality, for example? Are you able to get in touch and understand what is real and what is not real? That too is a matter of the growth and the development issue. The child will now understand that it is real to go to school and leave parents behind, and I will come back. It becomes a reality. And the adaptation processes and acceptance, including the emotional controls, will also be managed by that perception of reality of that particular child. Social sensitivity is child sensitive enough to understand and know who to deal with, who to associate with, and something like that. Empathy, for example. Do small children have empathy?
Yes.
That is not an answer. Yes, the acknowledgement of my question. Now, after that, you give me that answer. How? Have you seen somewhere where a child is crying, right? And the other children start to cry? Is it possible?
Yeah.
It's possible. How does it look like? Is it a chain reaction? What is it? You are crying, right? For the reason that you know yourself while you are crying. And maybe after that, William starts to cry. Because he feels bad about your crying. Not about your problem, because that's not your problem. See what I'm saying? So that's empathy. You are putting yourself in the shoes of Boston. That you feel, why is he crying? Not even understanding why is he right. And it goes on. Tabina joins William. She's crying because William is crying because of Boston is crying. Something just like that. So are children able to do that? It's possible. I've seen those things around. And also, I think let's look at something very, very practical. How many of you have attended a funeral?
All of us.
Huh?
All of us.
I don't think so. I don't think so. No, have you ever attended a funeral? Okay. Right. Now question comes. How many of you have cried and wept at the funeral?
All girls.
Or girls?
Hey.
Who told you that?
Girls are the ones who cry.
Oh, okay.
Yes, the mama counts na vijini kuja.
You can only be 17.
Okay.
Ndio sababu
So, tunalie.
ndio sababu sahihi.
Yeah, but sometimes when you are at a funeral, for example, and you see the whole room, everybody is crying, wow, 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 wow. What comes to your mind? And all these people, crying and weeping because of this funeral here, or they are crying because of their own funerals.
Their own funerals.
Yes. So they are being empathetic. They are thinking about your situation as mirrored by their situation. Right? And if you pay attention, you discover that the mature minor situation will be mature minor different from this one. See your death? Yes. Those are mental issues. Right? So this case here mental is quite a delicate issue. And I'm going to show you. So, don't you think there's a possibility sometimes, if you are not very, very careful with your mind and your mind processes, to say something to the wrong person?
Yeah.
What is it? You are with Boston, right? But your mind is stuck on Gilbert. And discussing with Boston, you are Gilbert, and it happens, that's it, right? Those are mind issues. And they can become bad. Let's assume you are partners and it's at night. You know, that's your Boston. Yes, so from nowhere, but instead of it's a very person, hey, Marita. You have problems around. Okay. So we can see the sensitivity of our minds, right? And how they can show up your capacity to manage also how they can create that type of situation where you can show the mental unwellness of yourself, something like that. And also the issue of your growth and development is also environment related. So how do you take to a new environment? I just gave an example of the child from the home to school and back. That is one issue that can show us how an individual responds to an environment. The other issue is about yourself. You know, I've talked so much about the self. What is the self we're talking about? It's your self-actualization. Are you able to understand your own weaknesses and strengths? Right? Is it possible for an individual never to know his strengths?
Yes.
Serious? Okay, so what happens? What would you do? That's why social counseling, right? Identify your self-users' weaknesses and strengths and help that individual. Actualize, get to know those things around. Personal-centered approach is one of those things, right? Yes. And also, personal identity. It's quite, if you can know your weaknesses and strengths, the chances are so great that even your personal identity becomes questionable. It's possible, right? It's possible. And also, that can lead to your inability to be cognitively aware. Are you aware of yourself? Are you able to interpret the situation in which you are? Something like that. So it's quite interesting. Then we have another issue here, integration. Integration, when we're looking at personality, talk about integration as a situation where you create the oneness in yourself, right? You and your mind and your thoughts and all sorts of things become one. So that you're not living in a situation where we call a split personality. You can't identify yourself, you don't know what it is, and something like that. Which is about personal identity, right? So how do you identify and know yourself or something like that? All these are some of the signs that can show an individual's ability to demonstrate his mental wellness. So, can you adapt to life, for example? Can you maintain your anxiety or control your anxiety? Can you respond to your stress and manage it? Right? Issues of autonomy, that's independence. Are you able to be independent enough or not? And something like that. Yeah. All these things coming around. So see that in mental health, I've met people who have looked at mental health as an illness. No. Mental health is the wellness. So mental health is the wellness of an individual's functionality at all levels and in all manners. And over and above that, it's how you demonstrate these other issues around you. Can you adapt to life, for example? Can you identify your personality? And also, can you do all that which is there? Let's conclude by looking at something else quickly. What are the mental health and stages of development? Here, there are several factors that actually can influence an individual's ability to thrive and also experience maximum well-being. Your maximum well-being also, as I mentioned earlier on, is age-specific, right? It's influenced by the age of that particular individual. 0 to 11, for example. Are you able to understand what is happening? Right? And also to move on to look at issues of area and middle ages, all sorts of things. But also, how do we learn social skills? How do we cope? How do we do? In fact, that all these things actually come as stages of development in the context of the actual mental health that I'm talking about here. So they will actually be age specific. 0 to about 11, someone just growing up and is developing, trying to actualize the 3, 4, 5 growth. Tabitha, I don't say pastor never. Never does joy and growth. Okay? That is how we look at it. 12 to 17, it's adolescence, and that's a formative stage in your job, right? You are now moving out of the home and whatever it is, you're in secondary school. So you start creating a lot of issues in yourself. What you are going to do, what you are going to be, all sorts of things. And the emotional management of things around. There are so many things that you probably around that time you are trying to also develop relationships. Down, attention. Forget about the phone.
I'm hiding.
You're right. Okay, so 12 to 17, that is the formative stage, and that's where we're actually building our mental wellness, right? Issues of emotional control, much more of cognition, adaptation will come around. You're moved up to the home to secondary school, for example, right? You're going to eat mugaiwa, and if you are late, it will not be there. Are you going to cry or do what? Yeah. How do you cry to who? You are in the boarding, you get there, mugaiwa water.
You are done.
Or you are done. But your dad is home. Okay? So that is the emotional control. That's emotional control. Or if you are not going to control, you will know which student brings a suitcase full of some food. So when they go to class, you sleep. And I'm sure I must have eaten people's chimakako. Yeah, that's it.
Who are you? Who are you?
Okay. So you can see, so it is age specific, and all these things that come around that controls actually manifesting in that time. Here, for example, here, let me try. Down, you are writing, but how do you write? You are facing down, so you are reading from where? From the phone. Okay. So at this stage, so many things happen in the people. You're moving towards adulthood. Okay? You know how to fall in love and also be disappointed at this age, I'm sure. Head Boston, at this age. Yes, after this, so that's it. Anyway, let's stop here. When we meet next, we just wind up and also maybe tell you areas of yeah, so when we meet next, we are just looking at your exams and see how we are going to manage. But the critical part of everything is, have you submitted your test assignments? Because I'm loading this thing around. And if you have not, now we have your problem. Who has not? And have you received your results from you?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. Peter has not even received your results. Did you receive your results?
Yes. When I'm going to present the assignment,
I think they indicated there.
yeah, but that day will be grace week. It will be during our grace week.
Yes, that's what I said. It's not a grace week. It's a pressure week. So submit your assignment for 7. I said for 7, eh?
7, yeah? Yeah.
Oh.
It's on 7th even.
It's on 30.
That's 31st is to do what? To go through it, then on 7th to submit.
But
During exams.
but when